This is your one and only FireSpark81 with your daily dose of video goodness, and welcome back to another informational Project Zomboid video. Today we're going to talk about your best options for early game weapons. I mean really early, like when you first spawn in. Let's get to it. So we've all been in that situation before. You just spawned in, there's zombies knocking at the window, knocking at the door, you need a weapon, you need one fast, and you don't have a lot of options in the house that you just spawned in. So what do you go for? Well, that's what we're going to cover today. And in order to talk about that, we need to talk about a few different stats that weapons have. The first thing I want to talk about is durability, because you need to understand how durability works to understand why I'm picking the weapons that I'm picking. For those of you who do not understand how durability works, every item has a condition level, and you can see it there right underneath the weight, its condition, and then it's got a green bar. You don't know what that is specifically, but they all have varying amounts. So a great example of this is that a frying pan has a base condition of 10 and a rolling pin has a base condition of 8. So they all have varying amounts of durability. Now that you understand condition and how every weapon can have a different max condition amount, let's talk about how that condition is used up. When you hit a zombie or anything else that you can hit with a melee weapon, it has a chance to use up one of those condition points. And that chance varies depending on what the item is. So we'll take our rolling pin here as an example. The rolling pin has a base durability of 8, and it has a 1 in 14 chance every time you hit something to use up one of those condition points, those durability points. So basically, when you hit a zombie, it rolls a 14-sided dice, and if it hits 1, then it uses up one of your durability points. Durability was one of the main factors that I took into account when picking out these weapons. I wanted something that had a very high durability and a very low chance to use up that durability. After that, I took a look at damage, then I took a look at how many zombies it could hit if you have multi-hit turned on, its crit chance, and its crit multiplier. So we're going to cover two sets of weapons here. We're going to cover weapons that are extremely prevalent and easy to find. You shouldn't have any problems getting a hold of them. Then we're going to talk about weapons that are a little rare, but still available as soon as you spawn in. I also want to take a second to point out that these weapons are not going to be super great for clearing large hordes. Obviously, there's much better weapons than these first set that we're going to talk about when it comes to clearing out large groups of zombies. These are more for when you have 3 or 4 or even 5 zombies, just a small pack that you need to take out because it's really difficult to do that without a weapon. First off, we have the frying pan, the griddle, the meat cleaver, and the rolling pin. All of these weapons are relatively easy to find in the kitchen, with the meat cleaver being a little more on the rare side, but the griddle, the frying pan, and the rolling pin, super easy to find. So your rolling pin has a max durability of 8 and has a 1 in 14 chance of using up that durability. That's pretty good. That's better than the frying pan and the griddle, but it also suffers from lower damage. It has 0.2 to 0.5 damage, and what I can tell from the way that they do the damage in these, I'm still working out how damage is calculated and figured out and what your base damage is and all of that. But from what I can tell, it takes the base damage, your character's base damage, and then multiplies it by those numbers. There's some multiplication in there somewhere, not 100% sure how it's figured out. I'm still trying to figure that out. I'll make a video about it when I do, but for now, don't think that it's only doing 0.2 damage, because it's not. That's a multiplier. It has a chance to hit multiple zombies, which is great. It has a crit chance of 15%, which is, it's okay. Not the best, but it'll do, and a crit multi of 2, so you can double your damage on it. Next up, we have the Griddle Pan, and the Griddle Pan has a max condition of 10 and has a 1 in 12 chance of using up that condition. Not the best, but it's definitely pretty decent weapon to go with for durability usage. Its damage is 0.25 to 0.45, which is not too bad. It can only hit one target, which kind of sucks. And it has a crit chance of 30%, which is really good, and a crit multiplier of 2. Next up, we have the frying pan. Out of all of these, I would go for the frying pan or the meat cleaver. We'll get to the meat cleaver stats here in a second. The frying pan is a little bit better than the griddle because its damage is a little higher on the max end. Well, actually the low end as well. So the frying pan has a max durability of 10, 1 in 12 chance, so just like the griddle. Its damage is 0.3 to 0.5, so you can see it does a little bit more damage in there, about 5 more than the griddle pan. It can only hit one target as well. It also has a 30% crit chance and a crit multiplier of 2. Now, the meat cleaver is going to be your go-to option. If you find one of these, use it over all of these others. In order, I would go meat cleaver, frying pan, griddle pan, then rolling pin. So the meat cleaver stats is max durability of 10 with a 1 in 15 chance. So it's got better durability usage than all of these others. Its damage is 0.4 to 0.8. It can also hit 2 targets. It has a crit chance of 15, so its crit chance is a little lower than the 2 pans, but when you do hit, it has a crit multiplier of 5. Now let's talk about some slightly rarer, but more powerful weapons that you can find early game. We're gonna start off with the metal pipe. The metal pipe has a max durability of 8, but it has a 1 in 15 chance of using up that durability when you hit something. Its damage is 0.6 to 1. It can hit multiple zombies. It has a crit chance of 30%. And a crit multiplier of 2. Next up, we have the lead pipe. The lead pipe has a max durability of 15. It has a 1 in 20 chance of using up one of those points of durability. Its damage is 0.7 to 1.2, so it can do a lot of damage. It can hit multiple targets. It also has a crit chance of 30% and a crit multiplier of 2. The lead pipe is an absolutely fantastic weapon if you can find one. Next, we have the pipe wrench. The pipe wrench has a max durability of 10, a 1 in 25 chance of using up that durability when you hit something. Its damage is 0.5 to 1. It can hit multiple targets. It has a crit chance of 25% and a crit multiplier of 2. Next, we have the hammer. The hammer has a max durability of 10, a 1 in 30 chance of using up that durability. Its damage is also 0.5 to 1. It cannot hit multiple targets. It has a crit chance of 20% and a crit multiplier of 3. Next, we have the club hammer. The club hammer has a max durability of 10, a 1 in 25 chance of using up that durability. Its damage is 0.5 to 1. It cannot hit multiple targets. It also has a crit chance of 20% and a crit multiplier of 2. Now, for those of you who enjoy spears, this is a good spear option if you manage to find one. You can sometimes find them in the sheds out back behind the bigger houses where you tend to find generators. Once in a while, you can get lucky and find one of these, but they do seem to be rather rare, and that is probably because they are one of the best spear items in the game, only matched by the machete spear. And that is because they have a massive amount of durability. They have a max durability of 10, but a 1 in 15 chance of using up that durability, which is much larger than any other spear weapon. Their damage is 1 to 1.5. They can hit multiple targets, and it has a crit chance of 30% and a crit multiplier of 10. These things are super strong. If you can find one, definitely pick it up and use it. Hopefully you found this video helpful and informational. If you did, consider hitting the subscribe button so you can be notified when I put out other Project Zomboid videos. And I don't just cover Project Zomboid, I cover all kinds of different games, so you never know when I'm going to be making guides for a game that you may be playing. I want to give an absolutely massive shout out and thank you to my supporters on Patreon for making this episode possible. Y'all are absolutely amazing people. If you would like to join my elite crew of Patreon supporters, please check out the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy, you don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up button and show your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.